What's going on, everybody? It's Cody. Welcome back to the channel. Two-game 4th of July slate. Thursday night, 10K to first. Decent slate. We do have some blowout risk here with the Washington Aces game, but let's look at my showdown lineup for tonight. Obviously, big news for the day would BG and Rebecca Allen play. I was under the impression that BG was not going to play. Obviously, both of them were in, and the game started like 20 minutes ago. Obviously, no updates from Draftkings yet because they are super delayed. But apparently, Rebecca Allen's making everything, so that's nice. But ended up going here. I played Kalani Brown at 11% as kind of my punt play of the slate. I just really like her in like spots like this where they're playing a big lineup where she's going to need to play against BG off the bench. And like on a showdown slate, when you're trying to not hold hands with a bunch of people, and the starter is Big T, who is prone to quitting or not caring or getting very lazy. I do like Kalani Brown at super low ownership like this. Obviously, Enrique's crazy high owned. She should probably be even more owned than that. Just consistent, massive usage and a really safe floor, taking a ton of shots. I mentioned how high I was on Natasha Howard. Not crazy about Cloud, but kind of just landed on her there. 60% seems high. DT, love the spot here for great matchup. Odyssey Sims, been a revelation of late. Really surprised that she's only like right at 12% at captain. Her usage on offense has been really impressive. I was not expecting that, so we'll see how that ends up. But let's look at the odds for these two-game slate, and then we'll hop in on a quick rundown on Underdog, and then we'll do these team-by-team breakdowns. Sun at the Lynx, that game should be awesome. 2-point spread, over under 153.5. Should be a pretty good defensive game. Then the late game, there will be no defense played here. Washington at the Aces, 16.5-point spread, 169.5 over under. Let's mosey on over here to Underdog. Obviously, $5 entry, 4-person draft on two-game slates, 5K to first. Love these contests over here at Underdog. Just been having an absolute blast doing them. I also post my own rankings in the Discord. If you're not in there, hop in. There's no charge. I'm just trying to help people get better, do what I can. But few disparities on these rankings from Underdog compared to mine. Like Stephanie Dolson, I just got a notification right before I went live that she is questionable with the illness. So obviously, I would imagine her ADP to drop a little bit, but I disagree wholeheartedly with this projection. I think it's just way too high. Let's see, a couple other ones. I don't agree with the Julie Van Loo projection. I think that's too high. Let's see. And then, the big one. The big one down here. Tiffany Hayes is projected for 0 fantasy points. Now, the way Underdog works is like if you look up here, like they have Shakira Austin, who has already been ruled out. She is still with a 22.7 point projection. If you wanted to draft Shakira Austin with that out next to her name, it's going to pop up a notification saying if you draft her and she does not play, you get a 0. You do not get a replacement player. So obviously, like it makes them like we got a little bit of an edge. The first game, Fag Benlay was back because she had an out next to her name, but she played, really helped us out because she was a great 6th round target. Tiffany Hayes is a all reward, 0 risk 6th round target. Nobody's drafting her besides the people in my Discord because she has a 0 projection, and that is just flat out wrong because she missed the game against Indiana because of a prior engagement before she signed after the season had started. So she's fully expected to be back. If for some reason that she misses, you are not penalized at all for drafting her. They are still going to give you a player that doesn't get drafted, probably like a Xanda Lassini, if you have her ranked higher, a Natisha Heidemann. I would take Tiffany Hayes over Zandalasini, Heidemann, Burton, especially over Alicia Clark with the way she's been playing. And then right there at that range, I would take her over Dorka. And then you're not going to take her over like Kia Stokes, Misha Hines Allen, or Shatori Walker Kimbrough, but they're going to be gone already. In the 6th round, there's no downside to taking Tiffany Hayes. Like, none. But here's my personal rankings. I am very high on Alana Smith. I'll elaborate on that shortly. Down here, really not a lot. If you want to take a screenshot or pause the video, write them down, whatever. If you want to use my personal rankings, this is how I'm going about drafting. Obviously, I won't draft to my exact rankings every time, as I do quite a bit of drafts, and I want to have disparity among my teams, but really enjoying what they're doing over at Underdog. Definitely check them out if you haven't already. But let's get back to what everybody is here for, the actual slate breakdown. Connecticut at Minnesota. I'm really high on this game. Obviously not the best DFS game, but it should be a great game to watch. Alyssa Thomas, 11K. Would expect her to play 38 to 40 minutes, assuming this game stays competitive. That's one thing you can count for certain, that she's going to play huge minutes. Even though the production has not been the best of late, still a really high ceiling if she can get there. Dewana Bonner has shot the ball terribly of late. Obviously, big ceiling if the shot's fallen, because the usage is always there for someone like her. Need her to get some rebounds to really reach her full potential, though. Don't mind Bree Jones for tournaments. I think the price is pretty solid. Dejanay over Ty Harris for me. Harris minutes ticked way down last time. She got limited for the Burton extension. So I'm not expecting her to play that few minutes. Maybe tick down to like this 28, 29 compared to her 33, like her low 30s range. I would expect her and Kerrigan to play about the same amount of minutes. Obviously like Carrington more because she has more peripheral upside. But both are fine plays in the mid-range. I do like Veronica Burton at 4,600, 22, 17, 22 minutes the last 3. She's played really well. Not expecting her to score 9 or 11 real-life points. She's not that type of player, but she can easily get you some peripheral stats and hit a couple threes if she needs to. Tiffany Mitchell is the other bench play that you can consider. Far less of a quality fantasy point per minute player to Burton, but she gets out there. She's going to play mid-teens minutes. So a fine value play, not the best. I would much rather just play Burton. Olivia Nelson-Adota played 12 minutes and did not pick up a singular stat besides a foul, so not for me. Rachel Banham was a complete DNP this last game, so don't play her unless you think she's going to pop and play like 15 minutes and score 20-something fantasy points like she already did this season. So, whatever. That's cool. I'm not playing a Durfall. On the Minnesota side, I mentioned how high I was on Alana Smith. It is because her minutes went back up. Here, if you look here against the Liberty, she played 30 minutes. She did not even have that good of a game. Like, she was -9, like on the plus-minus scale. Only 25 DK fantasy points. Dorka only played 9 minutes. She did not have a good game, so they just stuck with Alana Smith. Alana is north of a fantasy point per minute player, so if she's going to get 30 minutes a night at 8,100, she is just far too cheap, even in a tougher matchup. Obviously, Fee at the top should play 37, 38 minutes with the potential to play the entire game, just depending on how she's rolling. She's one of the best players in the WNBA, probably second in current MVP voting if I had a ballot. Kayla McBride played huge minutes last time out. Obviously, pretty score independent, but can fill it up. And if she pops for one of her random 25-plus real-life scoring games, she can win you a tournament. So don't mind her. Anytime she's mid-8K, I do have some interest. Courtney Williams' minutes have been consistent of late. If she's going to play 27, 26, high 20s minutes, she has some big upside, so don't mind her. Carrollton, I've mentioned this multiple times. She only took one shot. She did not play very well. She did have some foul trouble, though. But only 22 minutes, 10 fantasy points, with 13 the game before that. She is very scoring dependent. Yes, she has shot the ball from 3 very well of late. If she does not shoot the ball well from 3, she will be limited. That is the one slight with her. Makes her a great tournament play, but very risky. Not interested in Dorka at 5,600. Natisha Heidemann should play low teens minutes off the bench. Decent value, probably just not for me. Would rather just play Burton. Xanda Lassini at 4,800. She is a beneficiary of Carrollton struggling. She would get extended if Carrollton was to not shoot well. But if Xanda Lassini comes in, you need her to hit her shots. That is where she's going to get extended even further. She can shoot it, and she can create her own shot. So that's not something a lot of players in the WNBA can say. Diamond Miller was, I think she played, let's look, she played the last like 40 or 50 seconds. She played 50 seconds. The number 2 overall pick last season played 50 seconds. Whatever, she is completely out of play until she shows that she's going to return to some sort of relevancy in the rotation. Not playing a Fufa, Kone, or Peely. Late game, Washington at the Aces. On the Washington side, there is some news with Stephanie Dolson. She is questionable for the game due to an illness. That news dropped like right before I went live. That is huge news. Slate altering news because obviously Aaliyah Edwards, who they've been limited to around 20 minutes a night, she would either be thrust back into the starting lineup and pushed to play more minutes, or we would dust off Emily Inksler, who absolutely nuked the couple times we needed her most. So a lot of news up in the air for that game. We'll definitely have updates in the Discord, in the live stream tomorrow night, whenever we get news on that. Ariel Atkins, 8,900. Don't mind the price tag, but if she's only going to play low 30s minutes and not take more than 10 shots, really hard to prioritize playing her at that price point. Misha Hines Allen would like her at this price if Dolson is out. If Dolson is in, pretty hard to get to her at 7,700. She did see a slight uptick in minutes up to 24. Aaliyah Edwards missed this game here against Connecticut, I believe. Let's not lie here. Yes, she missed that game. That is when Misha Hines Allen got extended, played 34 minutes. She shot, obviously, 8 of 8 and couldn't miss, but has played really well. Would like her quite a bit if Dolson is out. But if Dolson's in at that price point, it's really hard to get to her. I would only, 24 minutes is the absolute tops I would expect her to be playing. I mentioned Aaliyah Edwards. Van Loo, I can't pay that price tag for her. Minutes have been better the last two, 30 and 28. But if she does not shoot the ball well, they can pull her down to the low 20s range and at over 7K. I just think there's better plays in the slate. Speaking of better plays, I would just much rather play Shatori Walker-Kimbrough for $200 less. She's playing high 20s to low 30s minutes in the last 3. She's going to get you the peripheral stats. She's a good defender. She can get you some stocks. And she can pop for high teens, real life points. So I like some Shatori Walker-Kimbrough. Austin has already been ruled out, so definitely don't play her. Don't pick her on Underdog. I mentioned Inksler. Melbourne, minutes were there, but she did not have a good game last time out. Dee Richards, I would expect Shatori Walker-Kimbrough to take the starting job from her. She's just been really bad. She started this game against Connecticut, played 27 minutes, had a good fantasy game, 16 fantasy points. Then against the Aces, started and played 12 minutes, 5.5. Then against the Sparks, started and played 11 minutes and did absolutely zilch, 0 fantasy points. They're just using her as pretty much like a buffer to get to Shatori Walker-Kimbrough. I don't know why they don't just start her. I would expect that to be the case tomorrow night, that they just start SWK over her. On the Aces side, there is some news here that we do need to talk about. This is the second of 4 games this week and the start of a back-to-back. We do need to mention, if you look, they were up 20 points here with a minute to go. Jackie Young, Asia Wilson, and Kelsey Plum were still out there. They played until the game was dead and dusted. Chelsea Gray was limited, only saw 19 minutes, but that's newsworthy because if this game was to blow out, they could stay out there. But with it being the first leg of a back-to-back, I would imagine Becky would pull the starters if they get up big. So that is something we need to think about. Obviously, A'ja Wilson, if the game is competitive at 12-9, she is one of the best plays on the slate. Had her worst game of the season against Washington. I'm pretty confident in saying she's going to rectify that bad game. Just a guess. Kelsey Plum, fresh off of her 50 bomb, went from 8,900 all the way up to 10-2. The peripheral stats have been really good of late. The scoring has started to tick up. You can tell that Chelsea Gray definitely opens things up for Kelsey. She's shooting the ball better of late. Besides this game against Washington where she shot 1 of 8. The only thing is there's only one ball on offense. Obviously, A'ja Wilson is the number one. They run the offense through her. Then it's, is Plum going to take a bunch of shots, or is Jackie Young going to take a bunch of shots? And then every now and then Chelsea Gray will shoot it quite a bit. So it's getting those days right. Obviously, all of them have solid peripheral upside, Plum, Young, and Gray. Young, for me, 9,700. Love the price tag on her. She has a safe floor scoring-wise. Shot 5 of 16 here, but still put up 15 real-life points, 14 peripheral stats. I just love the floor that she has. Chelsea Gray, really rough game. Shot 1 of 8, only saw 20 minutes. But against Washington, she played 26 minutes just the other day. Shot 8 of 9, not expecting that. Would expected to get kind of in that medium range between 1 and 8 and 8 and 9. But just not expected, or not needed to shoot very much on this team. She's more out there for her facilitating and just her experience and her level-headedness. Her leadership is exactly what this team needed. A'ja is obviously a great leader, but Chelsea Gray is the glue for this team. I like her upside at 7,800 here, but she would definitely be the one that would be limited first if this game was to blow out. So keep that in mind. Kia Stokes, 6,500. The price is getting up there for someone that has absolutely zero offensive upside, but great rebounder, can get you some stocks. So last player in, don't mind her. Tiffany Hayes, mentioned her in the underdog section, 5,200. She would get extended if Chelsea Gray was to be limited due to the blowout. Hayes would play more in the blowout, so don't mind her as the last player in at 5,200. Alicia Clark has just been rough. She saw 24 minutes, only took 2 shots, 10 fantasy points. Just not a very good fantasy point per minute player, and the minutes will go down with Hayes back. Kate Martin, I really can't play her with Tiffany Hayes back. Her minutes are pretty much just going to evaporate. She saw 11 minutes, only 0.75 fantasy points. These were the games that she played when Chelsea Gray and Tiffany Hayes were there. Just not enough minutes to really consider her. Obviously, you can't play Colson, Gus, or Bell. They're probably going to DNP with everyone healthy. But these players would get extended a little bit if the game was to blow out. So keep that in mind. Just with the Aces on the front leg of a back-to-back, there is a chance that they do limit some of these starters' minutes. But that's going to do it for me, guys. I will be live before lock tomorrow night, before the slate starts. Hop in, ask some questions. I will try to help as best as I can, but good luck to everybody. Leave a like on the video. Really helps out the channel grow, and we'll see you on the next one.